Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this beautiful occasion. My name is Abimbola Babajide. If that's a mouthful, call me Beams. Try it, Beams. All right, you're all welcome. I just want to welcome you to the best night of your life. This night is going to be transformational. This night is going to be inspiring. And I can tell you, after this night, we would all leave knowing that we've had an encounter indeed. Can I ask you to put your hands together for yourselves this evening, for making it? It's been, I'm trying not to use the word everybody has used for this year. What are those words? Unprecedented, challenging, any other words? But you know, in all this, it's been a phenomenal year because we made it this far. You know, we can either look at the glass half empty or half full. I am hoping that at the end of tonight, our view of the glass will be positive. Thank you so much for coming and welcome once again. We'll still listen to some music and we'll be starting in a few minutes. Put your hands together once again. Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. Can I have your attention, please? Good evening once again, ladies and gentlemen. You're all welcome to this occasion. As I mentioned just a few minutes ago, we're about to witness the best night of our lives. We're going to leave here inspired and better than we came. Before we roll right into the program, I just want to make a few announcements, a few housekeeping. The toilets are located to the right of this room. Once you step out of the exits you came in from, the toilets are located to the right if we need to use the convenience. Also, we have a kids room for all primary age children. So if we have any kids here who are of primary age, there's a kids room and we've made things very comfortable for them over there. Also, I would like to remind us that in this beautiful year that we are in 2020, we've got a few rules that we have to abide with. I'm not sure I've remembered those rules now that I'm thinking about them, but I'll tell you. Please try and stay, throughout the night. Let's stick to the table we've been allocated with. Let's remember our hygiene. There are sanitizers, there are bottles right at the entrance, and also let's maintain our social distancing. We've tried to pair people up in a way on their tables that will make it quite convenient to be able to talk to other people while observing all the rules. So, ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, I'd like us to, no, don't do that yet. First of all, this is so typical of me. First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to this occasion and a special welcome to all the pastors here from the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Australia, because I don't just think it's Sydney. Also, a special welcome to Professor Kadato and his wife. Yeah, I see you. Please put your hands together for them. Can we also put our hands together for all the pastors represented here this evening? So yes, without further ado, we would be introducing other people in the course of the program, but I'd like us to put our hands together as I invite Pastor Adeyinka for the opening prayer. Please put your hands together.
Praise the Lord. Let's pray. Almighty God, the giver of life and every other thing, we recognize your presence in this place this evening, and we praise you. Especially in the year 2020, if anybody is living up to this moment, it's through no other person than the fact that you allows it. We want to thank you. Take all the glory in Jesus' name. Thank you, God, for this special occasion where we are celebrating one of our own and your giftings in his life. Our Father and our Lord, we ask that your presence will be here, and everything that shall be done will bring beauty and glory to your name. Father, thank you. By the time we round up this program, we shall return all glory, adoration, and honor unto your name. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray. Amen and amen. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Please put your hands together for him. All right. Well, I'm sure we all have a reason why we're here this evening, but just in case, it's really strange. You all can see me. I actually can't see you. I can't see your faces, except for the people on this table, half of the people on this table. I can't see any other person. So, I can't Sister Mary. I saw your smile. Anyway, it's good to see you. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year for next week already. Anyway, I'd like to introduce the man of the moment, just in case you don't know him, just for a few minutes, just to know why we're here this evening and appreciate what God has done and is still doing in his life. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to put your hands together while it takes, I don't know if he's going to do a brief wave or whichever way the Spirit leads him. But I'd like you to put your hands together as I introduce the man who we are all here for this evening, to support his vision, his dream, and to get inspired by his journey in life. Please put your hands together for Dr. Adeni Iborire. Yeah, I like that move. God bless you. Thank you. It's good. You look like probably the Prime Minister of Australia one of these days. Do you think so? Daniel, what do you think? All right. I think so. I know I'm biased, but I think so. Anyway, Nee's journey has been a beautiful journey. But would also agree with me that there has been somebody consistently by his side in this journey. If anybody has read this book, as I have read, you would know that she has a big mention in this book. And it's my honor and my delight this evening. I can see her making faces already. She's so private. But it's such a big honor and delight this evening to introduce Nee's wife of 11 years, am I right? I'm so good. Of 11 years. Please put your hands together for Mrs. Olayemi Borire. Please put your hands together. Thank you, Layemi. Thank you. Thank you, Layemi. I would also like to introduce somebody very important here tonight. There are actually two of them, but I don't know where the other person is actually, but these people have been part of Nee and Layemi's journey, and they are worthy of this mention tonight. Please, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Daniel and Ethan Borire, Nee and Layemi. Now, Daniel, please take a, do you want to get up very fast? Aww, sweet. Well, there is Ethan, but I can't see Ethan on that table. I guess he's in the children's room. But Ethan is a bright light in our lives. We love him. And I'd just like to welcome everybody here once again. We'll just be listening to some music once again. And after this brief interlude, we're going to have some excerpts from the book. Some pages of the book will be read to us. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the best night of your lives. Thank you. Please put your hands together.
Well, let's do 1 year, 1,000 years.
Yeah.
We have that ready, so we can do.
1 year.
What about thinking out loud?
Yes, done.
Okay. Yep.
Is it Shiran?
Chiron.
I think you got the best line.
Okay. Uptown Funk.
Yeah.
And now it's good.
Do you reckon they can put those lights on?
I reckon they probably could.
I think so
Because
too.
they've got all the others on. But
Yeah.
when we can, don't worry, we're just going to keep playing. They just want us to keep, because there's lots of breaks.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's hard to see.
Yeah.
Oh no, my battery's dead. Which one? Under the Sea?
Under the sea. Under the sea. Where did that come from?
Oh, Uptown.
Yeah, sorry.
Uptown Funk. I don't know. I always skip this one.
How fast is it?
No one knows.
Is that it?
May I have your attention, ladies and gentlemen? Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See? Merry Christmas always catches people's attention. All right, moving along tonight. Thank you very much. Well, we'll be moving along tonight. Like I told you, we're here for Nee's book launch. And what else do you do when you have a book launch? You read a book. So I'll be calling on a few people who have gone through this book, and they'll be reading parts of the book that have been quite impactful to them. For the first person I'll be calling tonight to read, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Duni Ejiwale as she comes to read. Please put your hands together till she gets here. Thank you, Duni. Please let us know what chapter you're reading before you start.
Hi. So I'll be reading from chapter 4 of the book. She asked, who will you marry? I wonder why my mom would ask such a probing question from a young bloke like me. I replied briskly and said, I don't know who I will marry, but I know who I will not marry. I will not marry a woman who does not have a place for God in her heart. I will not marry a woman who would not love me for who I am. A woman who would neither have real delight nor pleasure in me. A woman that would not believe in the beauty of my dreams. However, that would impossible they may appear. A woman that would not entertain the best opinion of my personality and action. A woman that is too perfect to be improved or too sinless to be trimmed. A woman who is not sincere enough to tell me the truth when it would hurt. A woman that would not courageously enough to preach my sermons back to me. A woman that would not forgive my faults and understand my infirmities. A woman that would not protect me from shame and abuse. A woman that would not promote my spiritual, physical, and circular welfare. A woman that would not show me the respect and honor. A woman that would not seek for my contentment and satisfaction. A woman without a voice, or a woman without a vision. A woman who does not invest, but wants to harvest. A woman who does not originate, but only to manipulate. A woman without convictions or standard. A woman who can easily be bought with the prize and swayed with currency. A woman who is ashamed of what is right because it's unpopular. A woman who cannot say empathy, no to evil because the world says yes. I thought it would be almost impossible to find such a blessed woman, free of these things, failings, but I was dead wrong. There were so many wonderful women out there waiting to be wanted. It is the glory of God to conceal a wife. It is the honor of kings to search her out. Thank God I found mine, the woman of my dreams. Though imperfect, yet altogether virtuous. What a paradox. My wife, Olayemi, is my life partner. Relationships make or break a man. Over the years, I've had some wonderful relationships which have made remarkable changes in my life. The first and most important one is my marriage. Developing a strong bond of friendship has been mainstay of our relationship. We share similar values and worldviews, and we accept each other for who we are as individuals. Friendship is important with a life partner. Olayemi and I met in the church, and we were friends. But back then, I never thought about her in a romantic way. Olayemi and I were in the same writers group where we wrote articles for the church. I knew she liked me, but it was not unusual for me to get attention, and I wasn't really keen. Eventually, I started getting text messages from her. She seemed to know I was going to be her husband before I knew it, and she strategically positioned herself in the sphere of my influence. She saw me in her life even before we dated, as she sent me curious messages from time to time. She let me become curious. Who was this girl? We met in church and we started connecting. She was very open and she really liked me. Olayemi had bow legs, which were initially a turn-off. Attraction is really important. I prayed about it and realized that our friendship had grown. I did not hear a voice from God. I just had pure, divine, inspired love for her. This was deep. Very quickly, I began to see her in another light. The physical deformity of her legs did not bother me anymore. I started to see her beautiful face, her smile, and everything else about her. Physical attraction is really important in a relationship. There has to be some form of physical attraction. Indeed, I was attracted to her, but there was much more. She grew on me and the love blossomed in my heart. It was not a lustful desire. I knew it was different. I knew God had put her love in my heart because when I prayed about it, I felt peace in my heart. We gave it time and it grew and it blossomed. We didn't rush it. When I was with her, there was no impure desires. There was just pure, unadulterated love for her. I shared my feelings with my mentors and they prayed with me. Getting our parents on board was difficult. My father did not approve until the time he died. My mom did not approve initially either, but I made her realize that she had to. I guess they were initially bothered by her bow legs. Initially, my wife struggled academically. She had low self-esteem. She had bow legs and used to tell me that she never knew any man who would marry her. Despite her pain, I was attracted to her attitude, her character, and smile. I was physically attracted to her despite her bow legs. It was a divine and inspired love. I felt her stronger and stronger. My parents were initially skeptical, hoping that I would marry one of my doctor friends. They were not expecting me to be with someone from our church. Even the chaplain was surprised, but I stood my ground and made it very clear that it was her. It was what I wanted. It took a while for my mom to come around, but my father never had the chance. During the time, my father was sick. My wife's caring attributes shone, and my mom quickly realized she was a good woman. Ultimately, it worked out well, but I would have married my wife anyway.
Can we please put our hands together for Juni? Wasn't that beautiful? I love love stories. I love movies that have happy endings and the girl marries the guy and I fill in the blank in my brain. But the beautiful thing about tonight is I don't have to fill in the blanks. I'm a part of the story. I can see them right before me. It reads like a novel, honestly. When I was reading the book, I was like, this is, okay, I don't want to get into details, but I know Olayemi very well. I've known her for almost all her life, and I'm like, this is this girl's story. And this is Nee. Oh my God. But it's beautiful. I love love stories. But love stories take a lot of courage also. That's why we love to watch those movies. I cry when I watch love movies. I cry if it doesn't go the way I wanted it. But this story is going well. Nia and Laemi, we are so proud of you. Please put your hands together for them once again. Junie, I have a few questions for you.
Yeah.
Of all, do you want to put your mic up? So, yeah. Of all the places you could have gone to in this book to read, why the place about the love story? That's chapter 4. That's chapter 4. Why not chapter 1, chapter 2? Why was it that you picked?
I personally think that the book is not in order, and the chapter 4 is the beginning of their relationship.
Can you see? We love love stories. We should be in the same club. So, yeah.
Yeah. Chapter 4 really talks about the journey they took to be where they are today. It talks about the purity of love and how to fall in love in a Christ-like way. It talks about the strength in which you can use to put God at the center of a relationship. It talks about how we can also do it. I think it's different from how we see relationship nowadays, and how we, or me as a young person, take relationship, and to see their journey through it shows that we can have a godly marriage, we can have a godly relationship, we can have those desires. They had desires. When you read the chapter of the book, they had desires, but they were able to overcome. And it was through communication, it was through connection, through friendship, through love. And I think I'm saying too much, so you got to buy the book to learn the rest.
Exactly. I was about to say, don't you want them to buy the book? They're here to buy copies of the book. If you tell them everything, spoiler. Thank you, Junie. That was interesting. Has the book changed any of you? I know you've mentioned it, but has it helped in any way? Your perspective about relationship, even if it's not yours, generally, what do you think?
I think it shows, like I said, how a godly relationship can be. I think there's something that we, or me as a young person, is lacking in the century that we're in. But to see that it happened, and it can still happen in this generation. They're not that old. They are, they're young.
Are you old?
So it's not like it happened 50 years ago where we can't connect. It's something that happened recently, and it's something that I think that if we young people were to read the book, we would be able to grasp ideas of how we can have our relationship to flourish in the way they did, and the sacrifices they had together, which is something that we're missing as young people nowadays.
Thank you. Please put your hands together for Junie. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. You need to buy the book. If you've not read the book, you need to read it. I think I read this book in 24 hours. I love reading books, but it was different. This book was from someone I know, and it still inspired me, So buy the book, read the book, be inspired. Thank you so much, Junie. We are moving on, and we're going to be having somebody else reading a different portion of the book, a different part of the book. And ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. I'm looking for him. Please put your hands together as I welcome my darling brother Abiola Ishola up here to read. Thank you. I like that. Come on.
I'll be reading chapter 1 because, unlike Junie, I think that's where it starts. On a sunny Sunday morning, I strode purposefully into the male medical ward, a ward that admits many but discharges a few, hoping to say hello to their old dad and zoom off to church. On entering the ward, I was greeted by the matron's voice. "Dr. Borire, we lost your daddy." It was like a dream. A jolt sent shivers down my spine, like a patient under a defibrillator. I went over to his bed, lifted the white blanket, and stared at his breathless body. On his face was a restful smile. "O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory?" A sojourn of over 60 years had just come to an end. Twice he had cheated death, but not this time. Standing there, regret hung its heavy burden on my shoulders. This was my lowest point in life, and it was so devastating. Even so, I've learned that there is always a gift in every pain. Your greatness lies in your capacity to handle this pain. At this level of pain, many people miss it. They end up committing suicide or falling sick out of depression. Life can be so unfair at times. It's full of ups and downs. Just as the electrocardiogram of someone who is still alive is never a straight line. As long as your heart pumps, it goes up and down. I had my share of pain and grief. I understand perfectly what it feels like to get knocked down by the storms of life. Yet I took my pain and squeezed out the gift inside it. If I could say it through, you can. Perhaps you should read my story. In 2008, my father told me he had a wound on his leg that was not healing. Yet each time I suggested visiting the hospital, it would decline. As weeks went by, the wound got worse. As a medical student, I knew that this was not a condition to ignore, so I insisted. After so much persuasion, he finally agreed, and I took him to the hospital for a checkup. The doctors confirmed our worst fears. The circulation in his legs had been compromised, presumably by diabetes. His blood sugar was so high that it was unrecordable on a glucometer. He had little or no blood flow in his foot, and this had stopped the wound from healing. Apparently, the wound had become infected, and the infection was already spreading to other parts of his body. We were advised to have his leg amputated. I watched the look on my dad's face, and I could tell he was in pain. He refused to accept the doctor's advice at first, but the medics prevailed, and reluctantly he went for surgery. After the amputation, things got complicated because of the poor medical system in Nigeria. Daily, the infection got worse. He suffered from bed sores and was bedridden. It was horrible seeing him lose weight. He had come in with an infected wound on his foot and ended up having a below-knee amputation with multiple revisions. The family racked up thousands of dollars for his treatment over 3 months, which culminated in huge unpaid bills. All my life savings had gone into this. And as life would have it, this was the same period I was planning to travel for my Australian exams. Getting his body out of the mortuary was so difficult due to our financial crisis. As honest citizens, it was an embarrassment for our family, and we were all confused about where to turn for assistance. It seemed the whole world was crumbling on us. Soon I summoned enough courage to approach one of the hospital's directors, who was also deputized as a professor of pathology. Knowing the stakes, I confidently introduced myself to him as one of his former students and quickly reminded him of the distinction I had in his course. He was kind enough to facilitate the release of my father's body without any payment. The hospital board also erased our debt and released his death certificate without any force. What a great relief. Dad was buried in his hometown in southwest Nigeria. One day in November 2008 is a moment I can never forget. The family stood united at the open-air funeral, each with gloomy faces, as we gave Dad our last respect. I looked at his corpse, and I had to accept his fate. The image is forever entrenched in my soul. We lowered him into the grave as we performed the last rite. After the funeral, harsh reality stared me in the face. Without a penny in my pocket, I took out a loan to pay for my exams in Australia. I could have sat down and ought to weep, but instead, I took up the challenge to move on after the medical system had failed me. As the first son, I was certain that if I didn't do something quickly, my entire family would remain in abject poverty. I hated our poverty. I hated the fact that we were practically living from hand to mouth. This motivated me. Sometimes pain can be a man's greatest drive. Amid this pain, I embraced positivity as I realized that several responsibilities rested on my shoulders. It was up to me. I spent cold nights studying hard for my Australian exams. For me, this was my last resort. Every night I drifted off with thoughts about my father's demise and how life would still go on. My father and I didn't have a close relationship until the end of his life. The first time he ever told me he loved me was on his dying bed, and this touched me deeply.
Let's allow them buy the book. That was really deep. That's chapter 1. Yeah. Isn't that intense? You know, how many people know Nee? Like, you know him. I'm sure, of course, for you to have an invitation here, you know Nee, but you know, most of us don't know his story. And like I said, I've known Nee for years, and I still pick this book and I'm like, oh my God, this was really, there was so much happening in his life, and I only got to know a part of it. So thank you so much. Please put your hands together for Brother Biola. Can I ask why that was the chapter you picked, chapter 1? Don't tell me it's because it's chapter 1, though.
Well, for a lot of reasons, I feel like it's the start. Because before you go into a relationship and become a couple with your spouse, something formed you. Your relationship with your family, the kind of things you've gone through. And one thing that really interested me about this is that in life, things will break you. There will be experiences that will break you. But you have two options. You can either stay damaged or you can decide to be mended. And in looking at the backdrop of the kind of childhood he had growing up and the kind of relationship he had with his father, and having to go through the pain of the demise of his father, it gave me an appreciation of the person he is today and the kind of relationship he's been able to forge with his spouse, with his family, with the church, and you know, with everybody that's around him. And I realized that he chose something, because the whole thing about that first chapter is the positivity of your thoughts. And I looked at it, there was a lot in his past that I could have decided to feed, that I could have decided to dwell on, but instead, he decided to feed his destiny, his future. Because if he had decided to feed his history, he probably would have stayed back in that poverty in Africa. So the world, Australia, the medical body will have missed out on the genius that is Dr. Nee today. Woo. So I saw the power of the positive mind and how that can, you know, stir you up, how pain can be the drive for you to pursue your dream.
So beautiful, so beautiful. Thank you so much. Please put your hands together for Abiola Ishola. I'll just let you go, because you've answered my second question. That's why. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you. All right. Moving right on. Like we've said in many different ways tonight, Nee, one of the things I know about Nee is very audacious. Is like in your face. If he feels this chair here can help me, he's going to go right to that chair. Even if the whole world is saying, come on, that's just a chair. It can't do anything for you. He goes after it. He's passionate. He believes in what he believes in, and we can see results tonight. It's my pleasure tonight. I think this is one of the greatest honors of my life. I've not been here for too long, but I've been here for a few years. But this is one of the biggest honors of my life tonight, to introduce who I'm about to introduce, because he is okay, I can see my brother, Sam Tayo, looking at me, and in his mind he's saying, keep it together. Keep it together, because I'm about to get emotional. Okay, so we've gone over that. I'm keeping it together. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for this young man called Daniel Borire. Is reading the next portion. Please keep clapping till he gets here. Keep clapping for this young man. Keep clapping. Go, Daniel. Beautiful. Take a seat. So what chapter you're reading? 3. Daniel is going to be reading from chapter 3.
I was very shy in public. When I stood before our group, I would shrink and lose self-confidence. I felt I was more powerful on paper in person. I could write emotional letters that would make people shake, but I didn't have any self-confidence while speaking in front of people. I eventually found Ben Carson's book, Gifted Hands, which detailed his struggle in school as a kid and how he was able to overcome it. That gave me the faith and confidence that I could come out. Be bold and fulfill your dreams. But it wasn't easy. I went to public high school where we freely communicated in our language, even though we were officially supposed to speak in English. This affected my ability to speak clearly and correctly, and I often struggled with my tenses. But to fulfill my dream, I needed to be able to speak confidently. I got comfort from learning about C.S. Lewis, one of the greatest writers of all time, who would always shrink before a crowd, even though he had written some of the greatest books. In college, my colleagues and I would talk about sports. Then some of them would say things that are not factually correct. I would want to correct them, but I could not join the conversation. My heart would be beating erratically just due to a discussion because I was always scared of saying the wrong thing. I had low self-esteem because I could not communicate appropriately and surely. Eventually, I decided to read books about speaking and listening to people who were good speakers. I soon gave my life to Christ and then joined Bible study unit, where I was allowed to teach Bible study in a small class. I started teaching children's church. Luckily, those kids did not know the difference and could not pick up any errors I made. That way, I put myself into an environment where I read. That way, I put myself into an environment where I was teaching and speaking weekly. I started with those who were younger than me. Then I moved on to adult Bible study, which gave me the confidence, strength, and encouragement to speak. When I got to medical school, we had to dissect cadavers in a neuroanatomy course. Before going to the laboratory, I would practice my speaking in front of the mirror. The preparation gave me confidence and made my group one of the best in the class. I appealed myself studying books, including the dictionary, to become a better speaker. Eventually, I got better and realized that I could engage the audience and communicate. Now I can communicate with my patients daily. I can also counsel people and support them spiritually.
Please put your hands together for my darling Daniel. I love this young man. You are awesome, Daniel. You know that. You are awesome. Thank you so much. Daniel, do you want me to ask you a few questions? Okay, that's good. I like your confidence. Only one. Daniel, what do you like about that part of the book?
Because
Did you know anything new about your dad from that book?
that he,
Yeah, put the
that
mic.
he had low self-confidence. and
Yeah.
he was
But does that look like the daddy you know now? Does it look like he lacks confidence?
No.
No. Your dad is there. That's inspiring, isn't it? Yeah? You want to say one more thing? Use your mic.
I just like this chapter because he, it's like me, but when he's old, like it's me but younger because I have low self-esteem. I don't, well, I I have low self-esteem and confidence, and I dream a lot. So yeah.
Good. So this chapter, please put your hands together for Daniel. This chapter is chapter 3. It's called Dreamer Boy. And what Daniel is trying to say is that you see that you can have confidence like your daddy, and your self-esteem can be high up there, right? That's beautiful, Daniel. Please put your hands together for my darling Daniel once again. Thank you, Daniel. Can you indulge me? Daniel wants to read another line from the book. I'll hold it for you. So, yeah, you want to start from I had?
I had a dream that my 4 little children will be one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their color.
Of their character. Beautiful. Please clap for Daniel. That's a quote from Martin Luther King. And Daniel said he wanted to read that out. Beautiful. We're so proud of you, Daniel. You are very confident. I'm not sure that your age, I would have come out to do what you just did. So you have loads of confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on. I told you it's going to be an inspiring night. At the end of this night, we'll be so glad that we are ending our 2020 this way. We'll be having a short, before I forget, we have some pens and a piece of paper on each table. If you can please just write your name and email addresses and just leave it on the table. We'll pick it up right after we're done. Thank you very much. And we'll be having a short break. Our beautiful orchestra will be giving us some music, and we'll have our second course while we're doing that. Thank you very much. May I have your attention, ladies and gentlemen? I hope we're having a beautiful night. Dinner will be served in a few minutes. Can we please put our hands together for our beautiful orchestra? Is that what I'm supposed to call you? Please put your hands together for them. I love music, and you guys are doing an amazing job tonight. Thank you so much. I'll be inviting someone who is going to give us a bit of a spoken word tonight. She's going to pour out her heart in words tonight. Please sit back and enjoy this. Before I introduce her, can I just remind you once again that we need you to fill your name and your email address on the piece of paper on your table, please. This is for planning and coordinating purposes. NII needs this. So please do that for us. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together as I call on Shania for our spoken word. Put your hands together for this young woman.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, so my spoken word is based on change, since the book is called Navigating Change. Change. Change is defined as an act or process through which something becomes different, modified, revamped, or altered. You see, we live in a world of constants and variables. There are things that simply change and things that stay the same. These changes could occur at any stage, no matter how hard you try to arrange. Change. Change is a process. It takes time. Change is a challenge. Change is fear. Change is a state of mind. Change is an attitude that can also leave you with a heart of gratitude. Change creates events that you cannot forget and are sometimes hard to address. You see, you cannot control many things in this life. You can't control the weather. You can't control the past. You can't control the actions or reactions of others that have left you feeling downcast. Change. You most definitely cannot control change. On one hand, one of the worst things about life is that everything changes, even the good things. On the other hand, the most beautiful thing about life is that nothing stays the same, and the new journey begins. You cannot control many things, but what you can control is how you react to the changes that occur around you. You see, with changes, you can choose. You can choose to give up and stay in the circumstance that you're currently in, or you can choose. You can choose to fight. Fight in the darkness until you see the light. In your journey of change, no matter how great or small, do not leave a short story with words of anguish and pain. Rather, ladies and gentlemen, I urge you, leave with a story of strength and things you can gain. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, dinner is being served, I presume, or dinner will be coming out in a few minutes. While we are doing that, we are at a very, very important point in tonight's events. And it is my honor tonight. I told you, I said that was one of my greatest honor. Okay, this is another great point. I have so many high points in my life. Anyway, it is my honor tonight to introduce somebody very important in tonight's program. I introduced this person previously, and I'm glad that I've been on this life's journey with this individual for quite a number of years. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I introduce my sister, Niyi Borire's wife, Olayemi Borire. Please keep clapping till she gets here. Keep clapping. All right. Layemi and I will be co-anchoring the next few minutes of this program. You wanna? All right, don't worry. Layemi and I will be co-anchoring the next few minutes of this program. We are going to have a short discussion about this book and what it's about. And tonight, the author of the book, Niyi Borire, is going to be interviewed. I love Layemi. I just don't want her to hide behind that place. You all know her. You all know. So this is deliberate. I'm going to be holding her throughout this until she's ready to talk. Come on, strike a pose. Can you believe we are sisters? We are so different. But I love her. All right. So we're going to be having a discussion about this book, and Niyi is going to be interviewed. It is my honor tonight to call on, I know his name, I'm just trying to open his bio. It is my pleasure tonight to call on Rod Bryant. Don't clap yet. Rod is the founder and senior pastor of Church Unlimited Sydney. After a successful career in sales, he moved to Sydney to plant a church alongside his adventurous wife. I love that word, adventurous wife, Delphina. Rod and Delphina have been married for 8 years and reside in Southwest Sydney. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Rod Bryant as he comes on stage.
Good evening, everyone. How are we all? Excellent. Fantastic. Over to you, Miss Olayemi.
Thank you. All right, I have the pleasure tonight to introduce the man I know we all know that I know this man so well. But I don't know him. I don't know him at all. I only know a tiny bit about this man. And I'm going to tell us that tiny bit tonight. I'm just here tonight to remind us, or to remind this man called Adeniyi Borire of who he is before we call him up tonight. I want to say that I am very, very privileged to be married to this man. I am privileged to be married to him. My husband, Adeniyi Borire, is not just my husband. He's my friend. Who said that? He's my friend and a great man. He's not a perfect man because, you know, you might, so I think a lot of people look at him, oh, Pastor me, and he's like this perfect man. He's not perfect. He's in no way perfect. But he's a very, very wonderful man. Adeni is a dreamer. You know, the top chapter of the book talks about dreamer boy. He is a dreamer. He can, you know, the private place in the house. He can be there for 3 hours, you know, using that private place. And he's dreaming about things that will happen in 3 years, things that will happen in a year, things that will happen in 2 years. And he comes out and he says, you know, this is the dream I have. This is what I think is going to happen. And I'm like, do you think it will happen? And it will happen. So this man called Adeniyi is a dreamer. And when he puts his mind to something, he achieves it. Adeniyi is a believer. Is a believer. There's nothing too hard for this man to accomplish. There's nothing. He puts his mind to it, he accomplishes it. He's a hard worker. He's a very hardworking man. I know, yes, sometimes I'm like, you don't do as much as you should do. But he's a hard worker. He will do anything. He will, if he needs to have to work in 3-4 places to make sure that we're well fed, to make sure that we have the life we should have, this man will do it, and he's doing it. Adeni has experienced the good, the bad, the ugly. He's gone through a lot in life, and I think that has helped him. I know. That has made him the man that he is today. Adeni is not a quitter. He doesn't give up. And I think that was one of the things, because this man had nothing, you know. But I think that's one of the things that drew me to him. He doesn't quit. You know how there's this story, I don't know if I'll be able to tell that story properly. When he was in Unilag, you know, they go out to maybe have dinner or have lunch. And they don't have money, no money to buy chicken or money to buy a piece of meat. You just buy maybe you go to the restaurant and you just buy just something to eat, rice or whatever. But you know, they'll buy an egg or egg. And they'll say that in that egg, or he will say that in that egg there's a chicken. So don't look at me as somebody that doesn't have a piece of meat on my meal, because in that egg there's a chicken in it. So that's the kind of man Adeni is. I said here and I said, tell Adeni that he cannot achieve something, and he will prove to you that he can do it. And that has helped me also to believe that with God, there's nothing that is impossible. And so I'm so honored tonight, you know, to have everybody here rejoicing with us, rejoicing with him. And the reason why we can rejoice with this man tonight is because he never gave up on his dreams. And so I want us to stand up tonight, please. I want us to stand up as we invite Adeni. I want us to stand up and just give a clap to Adeni, the man that I call my husband, as he comes up here tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was
What a
beautiful.
romantic man.
Thank you.
All you single boys out here, please take some notes.
Now, What do I call you, Rod or Pastor Rod?
Rod is fine.
Rod. Now, Rod, let me just say this before we go any further in this conversation. That everything that I am and everything that I've achieved, all right, is through God's grace. All right? So I don't want anyone to see me more than I am. I'm nothing but a crude and unrefined man that God took out of dust and has put in a place where I am now. So I acknowledge him.
All right. Well, just before we get into it, Dr. Nee, as I'm calling you tonight, he has quite a few different hats, as most of you know. Just like to say it's a huge honor and privilege for me to be sitting here. You could have called on probably many better people, but hey, I'm sitting here, so I thank you. You are a great friend, and it's been a great time. Dr. Nee and I actually met in this exact location. We both had churches that were in their infancy, and we were on level 2, and Dr. Nee was on level 3. And we went and met, and we had lunch over, there's a restaurant just
right
over
there,
here.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know his story. I didn't know how far his mind could go and how brainy he was. And we started to talk, and we opened the menus like this. And it's a nice restaurant. I hope the staff don't have their ears open at the moment. But his first comment was, oh, there's not actually much choice on this menu. And I thought, either this man hasn't been to a restaurant like this before, or he's the next level. And let me tell you, after having lunch for half an hour, he was the next level. And I realized he was a great man, extremely intelligent, and yeah, we're all here today because of him. So let's just get into things tonight. Well, I thought Dr. Nee would start with your childhood. Your background and your childhood was quite different to what we see today. Would you like to talk to that? I believe we could start with the story where you changed schools. You were in quite a wealthy school at the time, and you moved into a school that was a little bit different.
Yeah, so yes, that was quite a challenging time in my life. My family, I would say we were really comfortable. We were sort of the average middle class family. And my father's business, my father was a printer. So my father had a printing press, and he printed, most people who are here are from Nigeria. My father used to print JAMB forms and JAMB exam. So the JAMB exam is a university matriculation exam. So my father had a successful business. And in fact, in the book, I wrote how my father, when he was dating my mom, would go to our office. My mom worked for National Telecommunications. She was a supervisor there. My father would pick her up on Friday evening with 2 tickets to London. And, you know, those days it was visa-free from Lagos to London. 6 hours flight. They would just hop on the plane. My mom would not tell them at home she's gone. She would just send someone home that I'm gone for the weekend. And they would fly all the way to London. They'll take a train to Paris, Amsterdam, come back on Sunday night. And then Monday morning, we're back to work. And that was when they were dating. That was amazing. So they were quite comfortable until my father's business collapsed. And when my father's business collapsed, I was in a private school, doing very well. But, you know, he just had to withdraw me to public school. And that was where things really got tough. You know, I was in a public school where we had no chemistry teacher. I was in a public school where we had no facilities. I remember that our classroom would leak when it rains, you know, to be flooded when it rains. It was just in a very dilapidated state. And, you know, that was how it was. And I remember that it was just difficult to do things, to feed, you know, I felt so bad for my parents. My father tried, and God bless him, you know, he's not here today, but my father really tried. I feel so bad for him, really, to be honest. You know, he really tried, he hustled, he tried everything like any man would do to feed his family. But, you know, when things were really bad, they were bad. He lost his whole business. He had a big contract they had committed to, everything collapsed, and his business just within a few months was gone. And I remember those days where we were at home, and there was really nothing at home. I would take my textbooks to the bus stop to trade my textbooks for a bean cake called akara, for those who know akara here. I can't forget my own textbooks, science textbooks. That's dinner. To get dinner, I'll give science textbooks for dinner. I remember there was a Christmas morning, and I remember this yesterday actually. You know, I've read this book over and over again. Yesterday, I was just reading this book again. And I read about the Christmas. I wrote it there in the book about Christmas, where we had this day on Christmas Day where there was nothing in the house. And that morning, my mom, I don't know, my mom is also a hustler. And God bless you, Mom. I know Mom is in Tasmania right now. She couldn't come down here because of the restrictions. So, hi, Mom. God bless you. She went out and went for hours to get food on our table that Christmas morning. When she came back with 4 or 5 unripe plantain. You know, like banana, unripe plantain was what she came back with. We boiled it, dipped it in palm oil, and that was what we had for breakfast. And we just hoped and prayed that somebody would bring a meal. Thankfully, God answered our prayers, and somebody brought a meal before dinner, and that was all we had. So those experiences are forever sort of etched in my mind. And sometimes when I talk to my son, he really doesn't understand. I don't want him to understand, though, but, that's how, I'm not sure whether I've answered your question, but that just gives you an idea of how tough things were. And I think what made it more difficult was that my parents stopped getting along. My father, was frustrated. It took out the frustration of my mom, and the marriage just started breaking down. It just started breaking down, and we're caught in the, crossfire. As I just saw how my parents drifted apart, my father started to distrust my mom. Of course, he was going to all these spiritualists and all these people who said your wife was the cause of your problems. And yeah, the marriage just broke down, and became very chaotic.
A story that spoke to me when I read the book, you mentioned that you went from this private school which was quite wealthy, and that was the life that you got used to. Now you've moved to a school that's very poor. I think in the chemistry class you didn't even have a teacher. Yeah. He still passed with honours though, even though there was no teacher. Such as the brain of the man. But can you speak to the adjustment that you had to make as a child from a nice lifestyle into not enough?
It was a shock. I was in a private school where that was really expensive in our area, and then that was term 1, term 2, I was in a public school that was, people were speaking vernacular, and it was a big shock. But guess what? Before I graduated from that school, I was a bad boy. Before I graduated from that school, I had stabbed someone. I had done so many bad things. I was a part of a gang. So it was a rough time there. Of course, but the only consolation I had was that I was academically gifted. So even though things were really bad, I remember in school those days, we had this gang, and I wrote it in the book actually, and they were my protection because, I finished high school at the age of 14. So I'd finished primary school at 8. So I was in secondary school. I was quite young. I was the youngest in my class. I finished high school, which is the equivalent of the HSC, at 14. And at 16 and a half, I'd finished my diploma in computer science. At 23, I'd become a doctor. So I was quite precocious. So I was the youngest in class. And I remember that I had these boys. The big boys in class were my people. All right? I was their errand boy. I would deliver love letters. So if a boy wants to get along with a girl, I am the guy. So I was a courier, and for that I got protection. So nobody bullied me. I was a big boy. I used to wear this, they call it spider glasses, this dark, in class. Even it's sunglasses in class. And, and nobody could touch me. I was the smallest, but I was well protected. And after class, I would teach them physics, those boys. Because I was still the best student in class. So after school, I would teach them physics, and then we would learn rap songs, Tupac Shakur, Notorious B.I.G.
Can you do a rap for us tonight?
No. My pastor is here.
Sorry, Pastor.
I still remember the lyrics. I'm telling you, after class, we would sing all the rap songs, and then I would teach them physics, and I got protection in class. It was like a jungle. Our school was a jungle. But of course, I also became, I had a bad, I got the bad influence rubbed off on me. And I didn't care, about anyone. As I said, I stabbed somebody who just dared me. I took a fluorescent bulb and I stabbed him in his neck. And he was laughing as blood was dripping, and we were both laughing. It was my friend, actually. I just stabbed him. But thank God, God saved me too early.
Well, I think Dr. Nee has another hat. We can call him Gangster Nee. No need to call the cops. I think he's changed now. Question for you. Obviously, quite gifted in the mind. Passing classes with that other teacher is not the norm for most kids at school. I found it hard to pass even with the teacher in the room. When did you realize that you were gifted, or when did you realize that you saw academia in a different way to others?
I think I'd always known that. I remember that, throughout one of the reasons why I finished early was because I kept getting double promotion. We call it double promotion. I kept skipping classes. One funny story, and I think I wrote this in the book, was when I was in kindergarten. I did not go through year 1, so they took me from kindergarten to year 2. Ask my dad, I don't know why. But I was in year 2 when all my peers were in year 1. And I remember that the teacher was writing a sentence on the board, and that sentence was a very long sentence. Now, in kindergarten, all our sentences will fit one line. I am a boy, I'm a girl. I'd never written a sentence longer than that. So we got to year 2, and it was comprehension. And the teacher kept writing, she went to the next line. So I was confused. I tried scribbling into one line, it would not fit. I erased it, I scribbled, and I started writing it like, we call it micrographia. Dr. Kodato is here, Parkinson's disease, So I write very small letters, and it would not fit. So I started crying. The teacher came to me and said, "Nee, why are you crying?" I said, "It would not fit." She said, "No, it doesn't have to fit. Just go to the next line and continue." I said, "I did not know." And it was a struggle for me that term. There were 33 students in the class, and I was last. By the second term, I was 5th. By the third term, I was 1st. So I got a hang of things, and so I knew that I was blessed with retentive memory. Now, it has its own downsides. I'm not a very hands-on person. So don't call me to, when we bought our house a few years ago, I went to Bunnings and I bought the lawnmower. I was almost $5,000 I spent there. I was just tapping away, hoping that, the first day I mowed the lawn, I realized this is not for me. I've given out the lawnmower now. So, my wife, she's here, she knows that the door handle to our bathroom is broken down for a few weeks. I'm not interested. The only day I changed the lock, I had to go on YouTube to see how to change the door knob. So I'm not, even though I am academically gifted, I'm not very good with practical things, handling things. Some people are like that, In our house, I remember my younger brother could fix anything. If my younger brother sees anything, he would fix. If I see, I would analyze it. And I can tell you the angle and and that's all I can do. I can analyze it, but I can't carry a ladder or get a screwdriver to start fixing things. That's just not for me. Of course, it has its own downsides.
Well, I think you analyze people's brains quite well, so I think that might be slightly more important, unless your house falls over, of course. I just wanted to talk about your dad passing. Someone mentioned it earlier, but a couple of questions for you. Obviously, it was a big event in your life, but how did that partly shape who you are today?
Yeah, I think it was one of the most important events in my life. Now, and I think I tried to capture it in the book as well, that my father and I never really got along. We were not close, all right? And I think, it's not just his own fault. I think it was also my fault. Remember that I was quite precocious, so I left home at the age of 14, and I'd never been back home. Left home at the age of 14. I was never happy at home. I just struggled at home, and it's affected. All my siblings, I'm sure they're watching now, they know it, we were never really close. And even up till now, I struggle to have a conversation with even my sister, who is here for more than half an hour. I wouldn't say we're close, like we get along, but I won't say we're like gisting partners, you know what I mean? So that was a challenge for me, and I think that's still probably one of my biggest regrets, that growing up, we were really not very tight. And I see my sister, I see my wife and our sisters and our brothers, and I see how all of them are together, and I felt I never really had that. My mom really tried hard. My mom was just, it's about survival. So it wasn't about, I remember we ate in one bowl. Imagine high school students eating in one bowl. And my younger brother was the fastest. So it was, I'm telling you the truth, we were in high school, we would eat in one big bowl. You know what they call eba?
No, but I'll just go with you on this one.
You need to come to my house. One big bowl. All right? And my brother does not chew. I'm not sure whether Gbenga is watching now. My brother does not chew. Whether it's meat or anything, he will just take it. So every evening we fight. It's always quarrel. Until the day we insisted that Benga must not eat with us. Because how do you compete with that? You can't compete with that because it was just going at a very fast rate. So, it was just so different and so difficult at the time. And so when my father let me put it this way. My father left home when I was just about to get into university. My father and my mom, they really fell apart, and my father left home. And he left home to be with another woman, a woman who was my mom's friend. So it was really, really a low blow for my mom. It was our neighbor. And I have two beautiful stepsisters now from that relationship. I'm not sure they're not watching, but I'm close to them. So when my father left, he really left. There was no sustenance. So my mom had 5 kids. She had no job, she had nothing. And my father just walked away. And I was just getting into university at the time. All my other siblings were still either in high school or they just finished. So it was tough. My mom almost went crazy. My mom would go to the abattoir to hustle for meat, bring scraps home for us to eat. There was no job my mom did not do. There was no job. She was just a fighter. My mom is fierce. She comes to, some people see her and they see her. My mom is not gentle. Up till today, I can't win an argument. Even if she's wrong, she will fight me over that. But that fighting spirit was what kept us. My mom did not walk away from us. She had 5 children with no job. She would go out in the morning, come back in the night with food. Whether it's scraps, whether it is, wherever, we don't care. I know she wasn't committing crime and she would never prostitute herself, but there was food on the table for 5 kids. And she did that year after year, and she knew my father was cheating, and my father was with another woman. And it was just unfortunate. My father was a good man, a very good man, but life, the way life happens, sometimes when life happens, good people misbehave. So by the time I was becoming more mature, my father wasn't around, and I was not happy with him. I was not happy that he was not supportive. A lot of the things I wanted, throughout my adolescence, my father wasn't there. I was in university, I was struggling, my father wasn't there. My father never paid for my school fees. My school fees was paid for by my Sunday school teacher. My father wasn't around, all my exams, everything. So, apart from high school, primary school, and a bit of high school, he wasn't there. And we would see him. That's the most annoying thing. We would see him around with another woman. And I think that really hurt, And so I had this resentment for my father. Oh, man. Daniel read my book, and one day Daniel came and said, "You punched your dad?" Yes, it's in the book. I wrote how I went into a physical altercation with my father at the bus stop. And I'm not proud of it, but we exchanged blows, because I was just not happy with him. I wouldn't say I hated him, but yes, it was just a low point, because a few times he would come home, he would beat up my mom. And I remember the last day he laid his hands on my mom, I held him by the neck. And I was not happy, I was not happy. I was never, home was not a happy place for me, to be honest. I preferred school, and that's why I never came back home once I left at the age of 14. Never liked it. But I remember a conversation I had with my dad. My father came to my campus on the university, and we were walking. And I told him, I said, I don't have a relationship with you. By that time, I was bold enough to look at him. And I said, and he tried to rationalize and explain things. And now I understand. Now that I'm a father, I understand some of his challenges. And by no means will I bring him down. I know he has, at the core of him, he was good, but of course he made wrong choices, and they didn't handle it well. They didn't know better. There was no counseling, there was no support, and I think that really affected their marriage. But, you know, my father, we would never got along. And just to bring this point to a close, as I don't know who read that book, chapter, I think it was Biola. My father became ill. So shortly after my father came back, after 2 kids, he came back home. And still yet my mom accepted him.
Give him a round of applause. It's not easy to sit on a stage and open up your whole life and tell people publicly about it.
Sorry, you know, I'm very emotional, but, you know, I remember those conversations while my father was in hospital. I was a doctor when my father came back. I was a doctor when I was surprised my mom will accept him. And he came back, when he came back, shortly after he came back, he became sick. So we never really enjoyed him. He came back sick, he came back broken, he came back old, he came back, I just saw him, I wasn't proud of him, man. He looked so old. He was 61 at the time. He looked unhappy. The woman actually had, I think, used him, and he probably was scared of that woman. You know, so he came back wasted. He had nothing. He had nowhere to go, no self-esteem. You could see my father. I said, this confident, you know, Ikalema. You know, he would be crying. He was depressed. He was broken. He had no money. He had nothing. He had a small business, printing press, which he was just, but he couldn't contribute. He was broken. And I felt bad for him. No wonder he had diabetes for a long time, never went to a doctor, never did anything. And, you know, my mom accepted him back, and he came home, and we tried to get along. He was never the same. And then he fell ill, and we had to take him to the hospital, and we basically nursed him. He just, you know, he was in hospital for about 4 months, and every day you could see him just deteriorating. But my mom stood there. My mom slept.
Your mom's an incredible woman.
Yeah,
she really is.
You know, she slept. She slept in the ward, on the floor, for months.
Well, I think if there's anything that we can say, your mum, I believe that there's a bit of your mum inside you, and that's what's lit the fire inside you today to do all that you've done. Love to meet your mother. She sounds absolutely
Yeah, she wanted to be here. She bought her ticket. She canceled it 2 days ago when, you know, Tasmania introduced a few restrictions. She didn't want to get stuck here because my sister really needs her in Tasmania. So, you know, I'm sure she was. My sister was crying this morning because she also wanted to be here. They wanted to be here for me. But it wasn't to be, but hopefully they're watching now. But I think my mom doesn't get as much credit, you know, she doesn't get as much credit. She's, you know, she's different, she's tough, and she's emotionally numb. But we will go through that and not feel that. We will go through beatings. I saw my father beat my mom. My father had beaten pregnancy, 6 months pregnancy out of my mom. I'm talking about violent beatings. Whipped her. This way, I'm not telling you fables. I'm not telling you things she told me. My father would beat my mom to a pulp with blows and everything. And he wasn't drunk. He was just a very angry, unhappy man. He just took it out on her all the time. And still yet, he went away, made 2 babies, came back home, and she still, I think that to me is love. Love sometimes is not only expressed by perfect people. You don't have to be perfect. My mom is not perfect. You know, my mom doesn't have a university degree, but my mom has a heart. You know, and she took this man back, and she took him back when he was gone. He had no money, he had nothing, he was sick. She nursed him. The first time I ever heard my father confess love to my mom, it was with a frail, old voice. I think he knew he was dying. I was there when he held her hands and said, "Oluremi, I love you." I never heard that from my father before. And my mom broke into tears. I was there right there. She was crying, holding his hands. Well, not too long ago after that, he passed away. I've answered your question enough, eh?
You have definitely answered my question, Dr.
I need a
Nee.
glass of water, please.
Well, Mum, I know you're out there. I just want to say you're an incredibly huge inspiration to a lot of people in this room. I think we should all give her a round of applause. Truly a model of what a mum should be like. Dr. Nee, I want to move on to your studying life. And having read your book, there's a story of how you got to Perth, almost had to leave Perth, but then ended up landing a job. Would you like to tell that story tonight?
Yeah, so when I came to Australia, I think we read it earlier that it was my last hope, my last chance. The day I paid for my Australian exams I paid for my Australian exams 2 days after my father died. So my father died on a Sunday morning. I paid for my Australian exams on a Tuesday morning. The money that I used to pay for my Australian exams was borrowed for my father's operation. So my father was supposed to have an operation that week. So he passed away. So rather than return that money, I just took it to the bank, converted it to Australian dollars, and I paid for my Australian exam. I just felt this was it for me. I just needed a break. Because when my father came back, as I said, all my salary for a year was spent on him. It was almost like a liability, but we couldn't abandon him. We had so much debt in the hospital because it was fee for service. Then it's fee for service, no Medicare. So, that was it. And we were just broken. I didn't contribute a single cent for my father's burial. People just came around he had a very, just very simple burial, He deserved more than that, but we couldn't. All of us just kept our mouth. He had 7 kids, and we just looked as if his brothers and sisters came from the village, contributed money to bury him. And so that week that he died, I just used all that I had to pay for my Australian exams, and I said I was going to come. And I wouldn't go through all the details, so you can buy the book, I wouldn't go through all the details of how, there were miracles each way. Miracles of how I got my ticket, of how I got my first accommodation, and how I found myself in Perth. I'll tell you how I found myself in Perth. Perth was the easiest place to go at the time anyway for the exams. It was the closest, coming from, South Africa or, from Africa. So I was in the doctor's lounge. I was an intern, and a few of my colleagues were talking about another colleague, Dr. Martins. Dr. Martins, where you see this, hi, love you. So this beautiful woman was my senior by 5 or 6 years. They were talking about her. I never met her before, but Facebook was new, and I was just on Facebook. So I heard about her name. I went to search on Facebook, and it brought this beautiful lady, beautiful doctor. So I saw her, and I added her, and she added me back. She was online, by chance. And then I didn't know her. I heard her name being discussed. So we started chatting on Facebook, and I said I was coming over. That's how, the next day, I just felt bold. I said, Doc, I'm coming to Perth. Please, can you just accommodate me? It was crazy. She was like, I'll have to ask my husband. So the next day, she said, tell me more about yourself. I told her more about myself. And then very quickly we realized that our parents attended the same church, that she grew up in the same estate that I grew up. And it was so interesting. So she said that, wow, this is a big coincidence, that please can I go to a place to see her mom, so the mom will interview me. And and as God will have it, she just had a baby, so she needed a courier to bring lots of stuff. When I got to Perth Airport, and the immigration or the custom people opened my bag and they saw baby clothes, they said, what are you doing with baby clothes? 90% of my luggage was for her, And so that was how she took me in, and then I met another family who took me in for 2 to 3 months. I was there in Perth. And it was difficult because I came on a tourist visa for my exams. I didn't come with any other visa. I came with a tourist visa. And some of you have heard the story before that I couldn't get a job because nobody would employ an intern from a third world country in this country of Australia. So I wept, I cried, I tried. Nobody would give me a break. I looked for all kinds of jobs, disability support, cleaner. I applied for a cleaning job. I was rejected. They said my CV was too powerful, MBBS. I was stupid, actually. I didn't know I should have taken out my medical degree. I wrote medical degree there. I wrote all my CV and all the papers I'd written for a cleaning job. And of course, I was rejected. So it was really tough. But 1 week to the expiration of my visa, I got my break. And I'll put it in two ways. I'll round up this very quickly. So the two things that really happened that defined this was that, first of all, a week before the visa, I was just praying and I just felt that strong urge in my mind to go to the CEO of the Shire. It's the Shire of Morawa in Western Australia, 400 kilometers north of Perth. So I knocked on the man's door and I said, "Sir, I'm a doctor from Nigeria. I need a job." Apparently, they needed a doctor there at the time, and I'd applied, but I'd been rejected by the Medical Board of Western Australia. Those days, it was state boards. The state board had rejected me because they said I was not competent or qualified enough to work as, an independent doctor, as a GP. They needed GPs. I was a junior doctor. So they had rejected me. But I just knocked on his door, and they allowed me in to see this man. And I said I needed a job. He said, "Tell me about yourself." So I told him my story. I like telling stories. By the time I finished with my story, we were both crying. He said, "Your father just died." Yes, yes. And so it was interesting that after the conversation, he said, "Okay, Nee, what can we do?" I said, if you want, do you want a doctor? He said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, just give me one night. That night I went home where I was staying at the time, and I wrote a new job description. I called it Assistant GP. There's no job like that, But I wrote it, I'm serious. I wrote Assistant GP and I put it in bracket, Medical Officer in General Practice. Because they've been looking for a doctor in that town for 5 years. They could not, at that time, could not find a second doctor. They had a GP there, but they were looking for someone to work there. So I wrote that job description, the eligibility criteria, and I wrote the job description to fit into my own CV. So I knew I was qualified for that job. So I went back to this man and I presented him everything, the reporting structure. I had looked online, about 7 pages overnight. I wrote everything. 1 week to go before my visa expired. I knew I was going back to Lagos, Abia State. They had just posted me NYSC, Abia State. For those of you who are from, I said, "No, I'm not going to that place." So I got those 7 pages and I presented it before this man. The man looked at it and said, "Yeah, we will work on it. We will make it happen." And so he signed it off, and before you know it, we sent it to the Department of Immigration. They gave me a work permit. They put me on a bridging visa pending the medical board. So we sent it back to the medical board. The medical board wrote back and said, "We have never seen anything like this before. So we need to invite you for an interview." So that kept me in the country. I was on a bridging visa waiting for the Western Australian Medical Board to interview me about this fictitious job. As if God knew that job would not come through. While I was waiting, it was while I was waiting for this interview that an old professor that I met in Nigeria, whom I had sent an email to, replied my email during that waiting period. I will tell you the rest in the book.
I think you'll have to buy the book to read to get the rest of that story. Are we good for time? 2 minutes.
Wow.
Wow, that went extremely quickly. I don't know if I did it for you as well. Well, I think we should get some parting thoughts from the man, Dr. Nee. So apart from everyone, by the way, I just want to chime in really quickly. I've read the book. I encourage you all, don't just buy a copy for yourself. Buy some for your friends and family. Regardless if you're in the faith or you're not, it'll inspire absolutely anybody. His story from absolutely nothing to coming to what he is today is inspiring. So don't buy one, you must buy a minimum of 5 copies. Dr. Nee, over to you.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. That went very quick. Sorry, a lot of my heart has been put into this book. I will just part by saying this, that I am not ashamed to call myself a Christian. I am not ashamed to tell every single person here that the most important decision in my life is that I made a voluntary, deliberate, intentional decision to be a Christian. That is the defining thing in my life. I am not ashamed. I know I'm a scientist. I know I treat people. I believe in medical knowledge, but I'm a man of faith, and I'm unashamed of the gospel of Christ. The greatest thing I've ever done in my life is not a PhD, it's not medicine. The greatest thing I've ever done in my life is to say I'm an ambassador of Christ. And I wear that banner with pride. And all of this will pale in significance when he calls me home or when he comes to take me. All of this will be nothing, because for me, that is the greatest joy in life, living a life of significance on earth and a life that would guarantee me eternity in heaven.
Well, thank you everyone for listening tonight. Miss MC, over to you.
Thank you so much. Please put your hands together for them once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, we are moving on. We are slowly, should I say slowly, or we are gradually coming to the end of this program. I will be, give me a minute. I was eating, so I forgot my notes, but I'm back. All right, so I am going to be calling on someone that most of us know. We're going to go into the book sale and signing of the books now. And to anchor this part of the program, I'll be calling on Pastor Ayo Folagbade. Ayo Folagbade is I'm sorry, just hold your applause. Ayo Folagbade is an IT sales professional of over 20 years, and he has held various positions. And he has held various senior sales leadership positions in different organizations. He has also been part of several startup companies, including Boutique Systems, an IT infrastructure managed services company based in Sydney, where he is currently the sales director. Ayo holds an MBA specializing in sales and marketing, and is a sales certified professional across several technology platforms such as AWS, Microsoft, Dell, HP, VMware, Citrix, Fortinet, and Sophos. He is also the lead pastor of Leadway Church, an ACC-affiliated church. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I invite Ayo Folagbade to the podium.
Thank you for that awesome introduction. Well, I've been given the easiest job tonight, and I hope to do it with my utmost best as possible. Before we go ahead to the sales of the book, I just want to quickly do a general book review on this particular book that we are launching today. Now, I'm going to say, firstly, that what a year 2020 for every one of us. A year that has been a defining moment in our daily lives, in our businesses, in our churches, and in the way we do things. For over 10 months, or in the last 10 months, a lot of us have had to grapple with things we never imagined could happen to our world. Governments have to scramble to find ways around doing things differently. Businesses had to find creative, innovative ways to perform their businesses and yet still stay in business. They had to be innovative. Our churches were not left out. Churches grappled initially on how to continue to be relevant and still meet the needs of their members, because meeting physically in our churches was no longer allowed. Governments told us for so many years there was no money, and suddenly money came out for everyone to be paid. That's about change, isn't it? And we all realize that it's only countries, individuals, and people who have dealt with change appropriately are the ones coming out of this situation better and stronger. The reality of life, as we see in the book, and it's been said many times in the book, is that change is inevitable. At one point in our lives, we'll have to deal with changes, and we'll continue to deal with changes. And that's why I believe that at this time, having such a book as this is an asset, not just to everyone here, but to the whole world. And once again, I want to say a big thank you to Niyi for putting out yourself and sharing your stories with us and giving us lessons on how we can effectively manage changes in our lives. I have two quotes here from a former American president, John F. Kennedy, who said, "Change is the law of life. And those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future." Charles Darwin, who we all know was the father of evolution, said, "It is not the strongest or the most intelligent who will survive, but those who can best manage change. Those are the ones that will survive." And that has been the story, I guess, of many people for this year 2020. Now, I just want to say a few things about the author of this book, Niyi Borire. Niyi is an award-winning neurologist. He's a neuroscience researcher. He's a lecturer. He's a speaker. He's a father. He's a lover. We've heard so many things about him tonight. He's also a pastor. And of course, he's also a change agent. And I do believe that with the launching of your book today, you will create many more change agents for this generation. Can we put our hands together for him for that? What's the purpose of this book? Why has Niyi written this book for us? And why do we have to buy this book tonight? The purpose of this book is to inspire and provide the skills and resources to deal with life changes using timeless secrets from Niyi's fascinating journey in overcoming his limitations and pressing on to becoming who he is today, a successful father, good pastor, a neurologist, and everything that we've all had tonight. And who is the target audience? Who needs to read this book? Now, personally, I've taken my time to read part of this book. He sent me the first 2 chapters a few weeks ago. And I just wanted to do a quick read, snapshot, and go back to sleep. I started around 1 a.m. in the morning. And I found myself, after 1.5 hours, still reading because I couldn't just drop it. That's how powerful his story is. Anyone who wants to be effective in life needs to read this book. Life is not just about living through. Life is about making a difference. Life is about relevance. Life is about effectiveness. So if you want to be effective in life, you've got to read this book. If you want to live a purposeful life, a life where your past does not necessarily define your future. And that's the story that we've heard from Niyi tonight. You've got to read this book. If you want to attain relevance in life, you've got to read this book. From Niyi's story, we have of a man who has been adaptable, moving from a private school to a public school, and yet he was still focused in a sense because of the giftings of academia that God has put in him. Niyi's story is all about adaptability. And I know that if you want to be relevant in today's world, if you want to make a difference, if you want to have a future, you've got to learn to be adaptable, as I'm just learning myself. Earlier on, when COVID came on this year, one of the struggles I've had was social media. I never really was not good. And now don't forget, I've been an IT person for over 20 years. I've done all sort of things. I've programmed, I've consulted for so many companies. And yet, I was struggling with the use of social media. I couldn't even do a post, something that simple. Now that was, some of you would open your mouth and say, that's embarrassing. Yes, that's true. And so when the government came out with these courses from TAFE, free courses that you could do during COVID, I registered. I was one of the first people to get in. And there was a course engaging in social media or using social media to engage with your customers. So I registered and was enjoying the course, but was really struggling. And there was an assignment they gave us on posting things on Instagram. I'd never even opened an Instagram account. So I went to my PC, and opened an account, and we were told to, come up with these marketing concepts using Instagram. And I tried to load pictures on my PC on Instagram, and that wasn't successful. Spent 5 hours doing that, it wasn't successful. In fact, I thought about reprogramming Instagram so that could happen. And the second night, I spent another 6 hours trying to do it. And the third night, I struggled again. I've got 3 girls, all right? And I've got one 16, 13. Very good on these things. And because I didn't want to embarrass myself, I refused to ask any of them until the third day after struggling. And the assignment was due. This was on a Wednesday. The assignment was due on a Friday, and I was not even halfway yet. So I had to swallow my pride and went to the 13-year-old girl, and I said, I need help. And he said, with what? I said, with computers. She opened her mouth. Dad, you computers? I said, yes, I need help. And she said, what are you trying to do? I said, we're giving this assignment to post some things on Instagram, and I'm trying to post from my PC. And she laughed and laughed. I said, Dad, you can't post using your PC on Instagram. You've got to use your mobile phone. And within 5 minutes, we got through. Big lesson, right? And one of the dangers we can have in making changes in life is when we have a fixed mindset. Doesn't help us to be adaptable. Niyi's story teaches us that we've got to be open to challenges in life and also learn from others. Sometimes in life, we've got to learn to swallow our pride and just learn. The world is changing so fast, and we all have to be open to learning. And I believe that is what this book would enable us to have in our lives to be able to deal with changes. This book is also for someone who wants to develop his capability to deal with changes and with life's challenges. It's for someone who is seeking to become a leader, because every effective leader in our generation knows that dealing with change is one of their critical roles. And one point that I didn't put, that I just put while I was sitting down there when Duni read the book, because you see, reading a book, we all have different motives why we read a book, right? So when I was reading it, I didn't see the love angle, but she saw it because, of course, with a stage in life, that's a priority. So if you are looking for love, you've got to read this book. If you are looking for love, some people are feeling uncomfortable, feel comfortable, you've got to read this book. It's a love story too. And most importantly, if you want to succeed in life, you've got to read this book. So if I may ask a question, who is this book meant for? Everyone. Because I believe everyone wants to succeed in life. What are the strengths of this book? Now, I've tried to itemize some of the strengths that I see from reading this book. Firstly, this book is practical, engaging, and very applicable to any area of life. The author shares his personal struggles and successes and brings out the lessons he has learned through his reflection of each situation. It uses real life experiences and his life stories to make all the points on how to navigate through life challenges. Niyi includes practical suggestions for applying each principle to our everyday living and how to deal with changes. Niyi's objectives in reading this book, in writing this book, includes the fact that he wants to reemphasize something that we have all known, that change is inevitable, and dealing with change can be learned. And also that our preparedness for change determines how we go through the process of change. It's either we grow with change or we groan in change or with change. And also that our response to changes that we go through in life are important. And how we respond is really very important. And dealing with change should be used as an opportunity to grow and succeed. Change is not meant to destroy us, it's not meant to put us down. Change is meant to make us grow and succeed. And thank you, Nii, for sharing that with us. My recommendations, general recommendations, and I do read a lot, and I like to read a lot. But I'm making this recommendation because this book is practical, it's clear and applicable to every stage of life. It's a good resource for people seeking to grow and want to be relevant. It's an asset for individuals facing challenges, dealing with changes, and what guidance to improve the capacity to cope and pull through in life. It's also for people who are seeking a mentor and would like to be mentored by Nii. Generally, this book is a worthwhile investment for anyone seeking to succeed. I'm going to be ending this short review with the words of Peter Drucker, who was a popular management consultant in the US, who says, "Today, knowledge is power. It controls access to opportunities and advancement." What we have here today, this book, is a key to help us to tap into the opportunities that the new normal world provides. Because I can tell you, I'm not too sure whether we can get back to the normal world that we knew 10 months ago. It's a new world with a new normal, and this book will provide us with the key to be able to tap into those opportunities. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, before we put the book to sale, I want us to appreciate Nii once again for putting his life out there and for sharing these stories. Can we all stand up once again? Please stand up once again on your feet. Put your hands together and please let us appreciate Nii. You can sit down, Nii. We're appreciating you. Come on, put your hands together and let us appreciate Nii and say thank you, Nii, for your doggedness. Thank you, Nii, for your resilience. Thank you for not allowing your past to define you. Thank you, Nii, for telling us it's possible in our lives. And thank you, Nii, for giving us the opportunity to all dream once again. Thank you, Nii, and God bless you. Amen. All right, thank you for that. You can be seated. Now I'm just going to quickly do what I'm here to do. And how do you buy this book? Now it's quick. From this venue today, right now, you can buy the books. Now there are 230 copies of the book here, and I think that's too little for this audience. Am I right? Okay, thank you for that. Okay, now the paperback goes for $20, and the hardcover goes for $30. Now, I'm a salesperson, so I didn't want them to mention that, but since they mentioned that, I can't hide that. Okay? Two things you save on today. One is postage fees. Okay? I was stupid enough to buy my own copy on Amazon and I paid postage fees. I should have just kept my money to be here today. That was a good $3 gone. All right? So you save on postage fees. So if you're a smart money manager, buy your copy today, right here. Okay? Every copy you're also buying here is also signed by Nii. Okay? So that's also another benefit. Now, somebody says he's going to be the prime minister. I don't know about that, but, you can keep it and remind him when you see him, this is your signature. I was there. You are my friend. Okay? So that's one way. Second way to buy the book is that you can go to his website, www.niyiborire.com/navigating change, which provides you access to various platforms where you can buy the books, such as the Barnes & Noble, Booktopia, Amazon, and Kindle. You can buy the Kindle version of the book. But I'm told that the Barnes & Noble, just a secret, is probably the best place you can buy it in terms of prices. So we're going to get rid of all the books today and also ensure we buy more so that we can order more for print. So I understand there are ushers with the machine. Okay, so just to make it easy, tap and go. Okay, and so please, I want you to keep them busy over the next 10 minutes. And I want to ensure that all this book goes. Now, if the books don't go, I'm going to be back here. And I'm going to ensure that every copy of this book goes tonight. So please keep them busy. And like we've also said, please don't just think about someone who needs this book that I've mentioned. Just think about someone who is struggling right now to deal with change. Think about someone who's looking for love. Think about someone who wants to succeed in life. Think about someone who wants to develop the capacity to become a leader. Think about someone who wants to be better in life. And I'm sure we all have these people in our lives. Those are the people that I want you to buy these books for. Don't just order it for yourself. Order for as many people as possible. And I'm going to tell you something. It's a worthwhile investment. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Please put your hands together for him once again. Buy the book. I just wanted to say that again. Buy the book. All right. Moving on. And like he has mentioned, we have ushers with the FPOS. If you just want to order yours now. We have enough copies to go around. Buy yours and buy as a gift for somebody. All right, I'll be calling up. We're gradually getting to the end of the program. I'll just want to call on a few people to speak about the need they know. Like we've heard tonight, Nii is a man with many parts. He has so many hats on his head. Sometimes when we joke at home, I call him Dr. Pastor Dr. Nii. Because I say he's a medical doctor, then he has a PhD, that's the other doctor, then there's a pastor in between, but that's even just 3 out of the many things he does. So tonight we'll just be hearing from people that know Nii from different angles, different hats. The first person I'll be calling on tonight is Dr. Kadato. Did I get that? Kadato? Please, Kodato. All right. Please put your hands together for him as he comes up to say a few words. Keep clapping till he gets here. Thank you.
I wasn't expecting this, Nii, but it's an honor to have been invited to come to this launch. And a few words about Nii as a doctor. There's a lot of hats that I've learnt very recently. I did know that he was a pastor, although he's never really discussed it at work. But I was aware. We can find you on the internet and find out where your congregation is and so forth. And I'm very impressed and humbled by seeing all the facets that you've achieved. As a doctor, when I first met Nii, you're going to look someone up and see what's his CV, because he came and started working in a practice that I work at, and a young person who's still just finished, and I'm looking through his CV, and if people do look him up from a medical perspective, it's very impressive. I won't ask you, but like even most people when they finish a PhD, for example, if they did 2 publications, they've done well. I think, did you pass 10? Like, he's not just excelled, he's surpassed the vast majority of people who complete their training and high degrees. And he's also done in a very novel area, and I'm probably seeing this, expecting there'll be a book about the ultrasound of the nervous system coming out very soon, I'm sure, because we've had the privilege of sampling some of your book, and you write very well, and I'm sure that from a medical perspective, a book will be written well as well. But just in a nutshell, Nee's a very humble person. He's an excellent person to work with. He's very approachable. When we, for example, at our hospital, he has chosen the worst day of the week to work, a Friday, because it means that you ruin your weekend. And then, lo and behold, he's preaching on a Sunday as well, so I don't know how he fits it all in. But he's very hardworking, he's very accommodating, and he's an excellent doctor. Patients love him, the residents love him, and it's a pleasure to know you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I was trying to, I'm sorry. We all got some tickets when we were coming in, did we? Were you given some raffle tickets? No? Yes? Yes? Should I take a yes? All right. Thank you. So we're having a lucky dip. I'm just trying to look for the people that are supposed to be helping me. I feel alone. Welcome. Now I've found her. All right. Omo, if you just, yeah. I'm sorry for the break in transmission. We're trying to make this as seamless as possible. All right, while we're waiting for the lucky dip to be done, I'd like to call on someone very special to say a few words also about Nee. Can we please put our hands together for Mrs. Kibo as she comes forward to talk about Nee? Please put your hands together for this wonderful woman. Keep clapping till she gets here.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much. And thank you to Nee for organizing this and the ability for me to be part of this. It's exciting in so many fronts. We had the opportunity of knowing Nee in Newcastle many years back. And my late husband had the privilege of handing Olayemi to Nee on their wedding day. That was amazing, yes. And so we have been close, very close. He's a son that any parent would want to have. And what has happened now, leading to this book, when he told me about it, is I retired from my full-time job 2 years ago, and then moved to Sydney. And it was just in conversation, he said to me, he calls me Mom, which is, he said, Mom, will you consider, I'm trying to, start my practice to do some work with me. My background is a librarian in the university, and I work with the University of Newcastle for many years. And he said, will you consider, working with me? And just, do set up, so we do secretarial work. And I thought, that's exciting. Something totally different from what I have done. And so we started 15 months ago, we started together. And it has been amazing. If I thought I knew Nee, I have just really known him in a very different level. And he is absolutely committed to what he's doing. Our schedule is 9 to 1. And Nee, it's only once he was late. And the reason was there was supposed to be a changeover with the children with Olayemi. And Olayemi got delayed somewhere. That was the only time he has actually not started at 9 o'clock with his patients for all the 14 months. That's how committed and dedicated. So I usually have absolute confidence. I tell them they come in, I said, he's coming, he's going to be here. And he does. And that is just amazing. He is highly knowledgeable, but very humble. He is very humble about it. Do not, he said it here, he hates to be praised and to be told he is great, but he is great. His humility is so much that the patients come in, they go and see him. You can hear them laughing in there with his patients, you know, no matter how sick they are. And they come out, and if there is the next appointment, they are more than happy for me to book them for the next appointment. They want to come back and see him. So we always have return patients who are coming back to see him because they know what they're getting. It's not just the knowledge of his profession as a doctor, as a neurologist, but his heart of God for God, which he does not carry on his face. He allows his actions to show that he's a child of God. He won't come out just telling you, you know, praise God, I'm the child of God. No. What he does shows that he is a child of God. And he's been controlled by the Lord Jesus. And that is a praise. And I thank you for what you are doing. He's committing a lot. It's a pleasure for me every morning when I either hop in the car to drive to work or on the train. It's a pleasure to walk with Nii, to have that opportunity to walk with him. I love him. Yeah. Yeah. And whatever dream he has, it has only just started. It's only about 14 months ago. But the improvement in which I'm seeing, the number of bookings, I'm telling you now, I looked at the schedule today. I was looking at it. All is booked full up till February. All his clinics are booked. Most of them are booked full. And I know. Had a look, you know. And a lot of them there are reviews, but there are a lot of new patients who are coming. So it's incredible. It's great what you do. And I just pray that the Lord will continue to give you the wisdom that you need, which is what I pray for. And that humility and sincerity and commitment for the good of humanity, for the good of why we are in this world at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mommy. I just want you to wait for a few minutes. So we're having a lucky dip. A few of us will be winning free copies, autographed copies of this book. So Omo, if you can just stop, you're going to help us pick the first raffle ticket. Should we have drum roll? All right. Let's see what we have. Mommy, call the number.
38.
38? Anybody? Number
38.
Anybody? Blue.
Check your ticket.
Blue, A38. Mommy, please put your hands together for Mommy. Oma, do you want to go and give it to Mommy? Thank you so much, Mommy. Thank you. Yes. Oh, okay. All right. It's going to be signed. Mommy, you'll get your signed copy soon. All right. All right. For the next person, I'll be calling to just say a few words about the knee he knows. I want us to put our hands together for Etinosa Eguaye. Did I get the surname? Please put your hands together for this I don't know the word. Amazing young man. Please keep clapping till Etty gets here. Keep clapping.
All right, good evening, everyone. All right, well, for those of you that know me, I don't speak a lot. And I assume Dr. Pastor Nee knows that. That's why he's put me off here today. So I think the first thing he told me when he said you're going to be doing a speech is, please don't have a heart attack. And I can tell you I'm very close to that now. Okay, well, as a pastor, I've written down a few things. So I was privileged to know him back in Glendenning. And for those of us who know him, we all started in Glendenning. And as funny as it would sound, he actually approached me. It was a casual conversation. Hello, my brother, would you like to join the church workforce? And for all of us that know him and myself now, the rest is history. So whoever thought, I'll be privileged to one day be heading his ushering team, that he called me to join back then in Glendenning. I also want to commend his positive influence he's had on me personally, and also believe everyone who's seated here today. Without no doubt, I can affirm to have made some life-changing decisions through his leadership. For those who either are close to him or have been mentored by him, we can all confirm indeed he has impacted our generation. His personal encounter is also an evidence that change brings progress. As a pastor, I can say his diplomatic charisma and his passion for God's work has to be one of his greatest qualities, Even with his busy career and schedule, I have to applaud his dedication to God work. I mean, even as a worker in his church, he gets to church before me, and I know there's a lot of room for improvement, and we're working on that. His strive for excellence in God's work has to be, a good standard for others to mirror, but also an inspiration to his ministry. Sometimes people come to me and always ask me, what would your pastor think about this? So I think I have related with him so much now, I can tell you pretty much his answer will be there's always room for improvement. Okay, for those, I want to thank God for what he's done in his life and the life of his family thus far. I want to say I'm privileged to know him and his family, his great wife and his 2 boys, and I want to thank God for what he's using you guys to do in our lives and in the lives of our generation. And for those of you who haven't bought a book yet, I want you to be rest assured that there's enough copies for yourself, friends, and family, and we've got the FPOS rolling. So, and also to those of us who are watching and still in doubt whether to grab a copy or not, I will leave you with this, that change is inevitable, but growth is optional. Change is painful and difficult, but nothing is worse than living a life that God has no plan for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you can just wait, Etty, help me, please. We just want you to pick the next raffle tickets. Oma will bring them down. All right? Here we go. Don't pick. That's drum roll.
A02.
The color?
Blue.
Anyone? Ooh, that's our lucky winner. Good. All right. Just hold on to, thank you so much, Etty. Hold on to it. You get a free copy of the book, an autographed copy. All right. I'd like to call on, I'm sorry, this lovely lady is giving me faces. Do you want to talk? All right. I've got someone very special to talk about the knee she knows. Please put your hands together for Miss Omo. She's just traveling this short distance to give the speech.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Okay, thank you. I hope we're all having a good time. I'm here to say a few things about Dr. Nee. I wrote it down, so if you don't mind, I'll just read. Now, some of you know him as Pastor Nee, and to some of you, he's a neurologist, a doctor, and to some of you, he's just Nee. Through all these names, you'll agree with me that he exudes a certain drive, and that drive is unmatched. He's many things, like Auntie Emmy said. He's a dreamer, he's a believer, he's a hard worker. He's definitely not a quitter, but also he's a people builder. He inspires me in so many ways than one. He's the type of man that believes that there is enough room for everyone at the top, especially you. He believes that you can be so much more. You just need to harness the person that you are, take your dream and run with it. I once spoke to him when I was in a dark place in my life, a time when I felt stuck with my career and just my purpose in general. He said so many things to me, but one thing that stuck with me was him saying to me, Omo, I see you. I believe in you, even though you don't see it. I see a diamond in the rough. And that's the kind of person that he is. That may seem ordinary to some people, but I really needed to hear that at that time. Sometimes all we need is someone that believes in us. I'm privileged to be a part of a group of young people who are mentees under Dr. Nee. And they'll agree with me that it has been absolutely amazing just chatting with him every other week. We talk about so many different topics, and one thing that ties it all together is the fact that he's constantly trying to pour into us and just help us be the best version of ourselves. He will say, you can do anything. You can be anything if you don't give up. Even if your knees are weary and your face is battered, fight one more round. Keep swinging, he will often say. This is to say the least about Dr. Nee, and if his mom is listening to me, I just want to say to you, Ma, you raised an incredible man. And to everyone here, I hope his story inspires you as much as it inspires me to be the best version of you. Your dreams are valid. If you already haven't, buy the book and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Omo. You're such a superstar. Do you want to pick the next one? How many have we done? 2?
Blue 878.
Pardon? Oh, please put your hands together. It's my husband. Oh my goodness. It's my baby boy. After doing this dance, no, I will get free copy. No. That's such a big coincidence. We got the book. We are not going to pay for the book. It's a free copy, autographed copy. Anyway, we were going to buy for friends tonight. So that's a God incidence, you know. Amen. All right. The last person I'm going to call tonight to talk about the knee in nose is my dear, please put your hands together, my dear daddy, Akimba. Put your hands together. Keep clapping as he comes forward. Keep clapping till he gets here.
Good evening. Good evening, I say it again. I've been asked to talk about Nee. Nee is my aburo. I stand here tonight to say I'm very proud of you. How did I get to know him? he came, he got my contact through someone when he was living in Newcastle and he needed to do something in Sydney. So he came to my house and stayed with us. And we started discussing. And I got to understand that this man you are looking at now is from the same village as me. We are from a very little village in the southwest of Nigeria called Igbo where the Kale people, and I can say tonight, I have not been surprised by all that I've had. We are very bold people, we are go-getters, we are hardworking, we are intellectual. I want to stand on behalf of my people tonight and say, this Ikale man, we are proud of you. And I want to add, your dad is smiling in his grave tonight. As an Ikale man, I know that when our children make us proud, we stand proud. You say something in the book that your dad was not there when you were in school, but when you graduated, he celebrated. Tonight, he's celebrating with us. We're very proud of you. Niyi is not an ordinary person. He's a highly intellectual person. When I want to have intellectual discussion, void of any emotions and feeling, I talk to him. He will ask me questions that nobody else have asked me. The other day he was in my house, and I live in a little village a little bit far from here now. And the questions he was asking me on my challenges there, nobody has asked me. And I said, this is the reason why I like talking to this man. He sees things that others have not seen. He's not an ordinary man, he's an intellectual. He's bold, like others have said. He's a go-getter. And his story in that book is a true life story. I was privileged because he gave me a signed copy of the book. And on Wednesday, this week, I just decided to have a timeout because I had a lot of noise around. My people were around and there was noise everywhere. So I took the book about 6 o'clock in the evening. I said, let me start reading this book because I know today was going to happen. So I picked the book at 6 o'clock in the evening, and I couldn't drop that book until about midnight when I finished it. And I sent him a text. As soon as I finished at midnight, I sent him a text. I said, I've just read your book. It's a true life story. And I'm going to get all my kids to read that book. I bought more copies tonight. Why? Some of us as migrants here, we struggle to tell our story to our children. But in your book, I saw a true life story which represents to a large extent what so many of us has gone through. Your story is unique, but there are so many stories like that in Africa. As I was reading your book, especially the story about the Christmas day and how you ate unripe bananas and all that, it occurs to me that there are millions of people in that part of the world, as talented as you are, but who are facing the same challenges like you faced. So if you want our children to know our story, to believe our story, get them to read our book, Navigating Change. So even though, like I said, your story is unique, it's exceptional, written in that book, it's very real, very intimate. You poured out everything. There are many people like that in that part of the world, and we should take some time tonight and think about them. There are so many kids like you, as exceptional as you are, so blessed by God Almighty, so full of purpose, but the system has consumed them. That's what we should be thinking tonight, and that's what I was thinking after I read that book. And every day, I still look at that book by the side of, because it was still by the side of my bed, and I was still saying, what can we do to bring up more people like me from Ikale? Because I know there are so many of them that are still there. So many of them, I can tell you. Okay? So, my brother, we are very proud of you. You have just started. You know, when I look at your story, MD, medical doctor, or PhD, which of the doctors do we want to call? But we are just starting. The Lord has given you all this enormous intellect, enormous energy for a reason. For a reason. And you know, I'm one of the few people that can tell you the truth. That can look at you in the eye and say, stop. Don't do it that way. And I pray my God will continue to keep you. In Jesus' name. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Daddy. Yes, you're picking the last raffle ticket for us. Drum roll. Blue again? Oh my God.
A61.
Blue.
Blue.
Demilade. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you so much, Daddy. Thank you, everybody. We are drawing the curtains tonight. You've all been great people, wonderful guests. It's been lovely to be here. I would want you to put your hands together as I call on an incredible young man to give us the, well, we're going to do the toast. I was going to say the wrong thing. Yeah, the toast this evening. Please put your hands together for Mr. Samtayo Olanipeku. Please keep clapping till we get here.
Good evening, everybody. Oh, yes. Please, I need a glass. And can we all get our glasses ready? Please. Any glass you find will be fine. Thanks, sir. A glass of water. I've actually never done this before, so we'll be doing this together. You know, something really quick. It's a privilege actually knowing Dr. Nee, Pastor Nee, Brother Nee. Getting to Australia, I stayed with him, and the impact it's had in my life. Without reading the book, it's been enormous. So there's a lot in that book that would actually benefit every one of us. If you're an international student, get close to him. He's going to be able to, you know, help you a lot. Not to take your time, so a man who is adventurous, encouraging, humble, ambitious, and with a standing ovation, please, everyone. Besides him, we're also going to be acknowledging all of us and navigating change together as Dr. Nee has put in the book. So cheers to the man of the moment. Cheers.
I don't have a glass. Thank you, Santa. Cheers, everyone. I was going to announce that if anybody wants more drinks, you can order more. It's a bottomless pit tonight of soft drinks. Thank you so much, Samtayo. I would be here. So we've come to the end of this program, and I'm delighted to welcome the man of the hour. Once again, please put your hands together for Nee Borire.
Wow, thank you so much. She looks very beautiful, doesn't she? Thank you. Thank you so, so much. And she's doing it free of charge. Thank you to you all. Thank you for coming down here. I don't take it for granted. I really appreciate you all. There are a few people that I want to specially thank. Whoa! Wow. You need to explain this, please. What's going on?
So if you don't know, tomorrow is Pastor Nee or Dr. Burley's birthday. We couldn't sing properly because of COVID, but we wanted to honor him and the man that he is. Our team that we had that's helped plan the event, we just wanted to say thank you for who you are, for how amazing you are, for being a mentor. We appreciate you, we love you, God bless you, and many more years to be celebrated. Amen.
Where are they? Where are my people? I want to thank these people specially. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to mentor you. I've got this group of young people that, where are they? Shania, God bless you. And you guys make, I'm telling you, it's a pleasure. We meet sometimes 2-3 hours and I'm teaching them and they listen and they give me the opportunity to be a blessing. Where are they? Heavy. Paul, where's Paul? Yeah, God bless you, Paul. Thank you. All of these wonderful people have put this together without paying them anything. I teach them, I mentor them, I encourage them, and in return, they've just done this for me. You know, all the running around, Duni, where's Duni? Oh, she's run away. You know, I wanted to hire an event partner. They said no. Where is Steady? Steady, this man. If you've been watching all my videos on Instagram and Facebook, Steady does them free of charge. All of them, they serve. They are ready and willing to serve me free of charge. Thank you, Emmanuel. God bless you. Where is Etty? Etty built this thing free of charge. Etty Eguaye. Where is he? God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. I really thank you all. You are wonderful people. Let me tell you, beyond pastoring, you know, most of you know, pastoring is, I find teaching and mentoring you guys much more pleasurable than any pastoring. I'm telling you the truth. Every Monday when we meet for hours, teaching and encouraging each other, it's a big pleasure to me. And you know, I get a lot of fulfillment for that. So thank you for that opportunity. And thank you for putting this together. To my lovely wife, I love you. Thank you. Thank you for making this happen. Thank you. I really, really appreciate you. To the Babaji days, I love you. I thank you. Santayo, my boy, I love you. Thank you. And to his beautiful, beautiful fiancée, let's see her. Retnan, stand up. Let everybody see you. Come on. And Retnan's parents are here. Mr. Zacharias, God bless you, sir. Where's Mama? She's okay. God bless you in Jesus' name. I want to thank everyone. Dennis and Lisa, thank you so much for coming here. I appreciate you for coming here. And all my friends, I appreciate you. And one man I must thank. This man has played a huge role in my life in Australia. This man is somebody I am proud to call father. All right? And I actually will crave your indulgence to hear him speak. Even if it's just 2 minutes. I know our time is fast spent. But there's no way that I would not just bring him up here. Because if there's any single person that has exerted the most influence on my life, it's this man. 2 or 3 days ago, I needed a question answered. It's a ridiculous question. Just about scheduling my appointment, I called him. He still answered. He has never said no to me. All right? Pastor Adeyinka. Daddy, please come out here, please. Please, stand up and give him a wonderful, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Do you want to say anything, sir?
Thank you. God bless you, sir. Again and again, we say congratulations to you. It's a great honor to be part of your journey in life. And we praise the Lord for what he has in store for you even into the future. Great, glorious, and we know you shall get there in Jesus' name. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, God bless you all. Thanks for coming here. As this program ended, MC, is this the end? Do you want to come up here? Oh, you're hungry. So thank you all. God bless you. For those who... Photographs? Okay, there'll be photographs here. Please, at that book stand there. And I would also, for the lottery winners or the raffle draw winners, I would sign their books. Thank you. God bless you. I love you all. Mama Kibu, where are you? You have to turn up to work. The way you were talking, it looks like you were asking for an increase. 2021, hey.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a beautiful, beautiful night. Like I promised us at the beginning, I said we'll be inspired. I've been inspired. Sorry, I was having my dessert. I've been inspired all over again, and the food has been delicious. We will quickly take pictures. We would do it by table because of COVID restrictions. We won't be doing too much of a group picture. So I'll just call out the table numbers and we'll take the pictures, and you can have your book signed while you're over there. All right, so thank you. Dooney, what table are we starting with? Should we just start with table 1? Should we just do that? All right, so table 1, please. Nee, we need you. Are we doing it here or there? Where are we taking pictures? Yeah, so over there. Whatever, where do you prefer? Table 1, sorry, change of plans. We'll be taking it up here because the lighting is better. Table 1, please, on the stage. Thank you. Table 2, please. Table 2. All right, table 3. Oh, sorry, table 2. Table 4, please.
Clocks, yes. Fox is good. We play that one. It's pretty short. Do it twice. Alright. Oh yeah, that'd be good. The viola solo. Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Alright, we're gonna do Fox. It's in the beginning of it.
Table 6, please get ready. Please take it. Is there my Table 6, please. Table 6, please. Okay. I'm sorry, we just need to be a bit fast. Yeah, okay. So table 7 should get ready.
We booked online. It wasn't yet.
Are they going to mingle out? They're going to go? And they're doing their photos. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Have a lovely New Year.
Yeah, you too.
Happy New Year. Safe drives and everything. What are you doing?
You'll do it. She'll join us again. Yeah. Dennis and yeah. Hold on. We just want Dennis is leaving. If they can just take that picture with him, then. So this is table 7. No, Daddy, we just want them to take. Then table 7 will take. Dennis and Linda. Yeah. Not yet, Danny. Yep. Table 7, please. Yep, table 7. Thank you. Table 7. Daddy.
Make the announcement for the parents to come and start picking their kids.
Oh, thank you. Please, very important announcements. Do not forget your kids in the kids' room. Kindly pick them up. Kindly pick up your kids from the kids' room, please. You're free to pick them down. Thank you. Laemi, why are you at the back? No need. Yes. My mommy. What? Mommy.
So you don't have to do table 9. You don't have to do table 10. Because there's nobody on table 10.
So what am I calling it?
So which table is that? Next one's table 8, right?
Yep.
Table 8. 8. Babiola, your table.
If there are few, maybe we should add more people.
Yeah. So you can do table.
So this is 8. Where is 9?
No, our table is 9. You have to do
Okay.
10 is gone, 11 is gone, so 12.
12, table 12.
Auntie, it's so good.
Table 12.
Okay, 11. Yes. Everybody. Is Mr. and Mrs. O, I see you. I'm just seeing you. Oh, yeah, go. What table are you guys? 12. Okay, go. I missed 11, but we'll do 12 since you're already here. Table 11, please get ready. Table 11. Yeah, no, this is 12. I missed 11, so we are doing 12. Then 12. 12 is going up. After 12, we jump back to 11. I missed 11. Mr. Bimbo, I see you. I can see you. Just stay there. Just stay there. I'm using binoculars to look at you. There you go. Abimbola, baby. Check in Corey for me. Abimbola, baby, baby, baby. Ah, come on, girl. Come on, girl. Come on. Table 11. Table 11.
I love the bling, bling, bling. I just said, really beautiful. Some bling. Don't you think so? Your fabric. I can't see anybody on 13. Table 14. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all by your grace.
Table 14. Table 14, please.
You are the greatest. Oh Lord, I lift my hands in praise. You are the greatest. Oh Lord, I bow before your presence. I am nothing without you. I've been saved by your mercy. I'm a product of grace. Oh yeah. I'm the light in the darkness. It is by your grace. It is all by your grace. Oh yeah. All by your mercy. You are the greatest. You are the greatest. I lift my hands in praise.
Table. Next table. You are right here. Please go. Please go up.
Before your presence, I am nothing without you. I've been saved by your mercy.
Yes, the next table. I've forgotten the table number. 16. God bless you, Esther. That's why you're our lawyer. Okay. Our lawyers. Oluwa lawyers. Oluwa.
I worship you today. I worship you today. I cannot I worship you today. I worship you today. You're the awesome wonder. You're the great Jehovah. You're the mighty ruler. I worship you today. You're the awesome wonder. You're the great Jehovah. You're the mighty ruler. I worship you today. Lift your hands. I worship you today. I worship you today. I'm on my knees to worship you today. I worship you today. I lay down my crown to worship you today.
Next, are we done with all the tables? Okay, so table 3. Table 3, babe. Our table. Then, can someone call Daniel and Ethan? Heavy. Paul, any one of you, Daniel and Ethan, to take pictures with their parents. Thank you.
You're the present help in need. I worship you today. I worship you today. I'm on the end, I worship you today. 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 You're the awesome wonder. You're the awesome one, Jehovah. You're the great, you're the mighty ruler. You're the mighty ruler. I worship you today. You're the awesome wonder. You are the mighty worship you today. I lay down my crown to worship you today. I worship you today. I bow down my head to worship you today. I worship you today. I worship you.
Sing it with me, everybody, let's go. You've been so good to me, faithful God. You were so good. You were so kind. King of all kings. Table 17. Joshua. I didn't know. I'm sorry. Table 17. Table 18, 19. I'm so sorry. I thought I had done well. Please, if there's any table I haven't called, please make your way forward and take pictures. Yeah, I'm ready for you. Yeah, that's the last picture. Please, if there's any other person that will take pictures, please make your way up here. Can I hear you give him some praise? Let's go. Oh, mama, I worship you. Everybody, let me hear you. One more time. Wave your hands, come on.
Son of the Most High.
Ejiro. Who is Ejiro? I'm not being college. Ejiro. Shania, Omo, the whole team, Kevin, Paul. All I require. Who do I know again? Judy, yeah, all of you. Timmy, Paul, Omo, Shania, who am I missing? Heavy. Please come up and take pictures. Shania, Etty, 18, okay. 18, Omo, Paul, Judy, Shania, who am I? How do you work out? In what now? Omo, Paul, Booksellers Association. Walking miracles, I live a life of favor, 'cause I know who I am. I'm walking in power, I'm walking in miracles, I live a life of favor, 'cause I know who I am. Come on, dance for the Lord. We are a chosen
chosen generation. We are a chosen generation. Called to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me. I know who God says I am. What He says I am. Where He says I'm at. I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What He says I am. Where He says I'm at. I know who I'm walking in power. I'm walking in miracle. I live a life of favor. No, I know who I am. I'm walking in power. I'm walking in miracle. I live a ọmọ Ọlọ́run ni ẹ̀tọ́ láti máa bú sáyọ̀ pé ọ̀nà yíyẹ wá sí ọkàn wa ń ṣàfẹ́rí rẹ̀ ní kó ṣe òde àfi ọba wa ológo ògo fọ́lọ́run hallelujah. Ọlọ́run ni ẹ̀tọ́ láti